Okay, so today I'm going to demonstrate and explain two instructional activities that could be used to support children who are at two different Van Healy levels. So first of all, Van Healy, what is that? Well, the Van Healy model is a 5-level model that describes the progressions of children's spatial geometric understanding. And basically each level describes the thinking process used in geometric context and how we think about those ideas. Okay? So here is a visual of the Van Healy model. You can see the different levels in it. So we have level 0, visualization, level 1, analysis, level 2, informal deduction, level 3, deduction, and level 4, rigor. So the Van Healy model is a model that discusses shapes and the properties and different types of things about shapes in the 5 different levels. Okay, so some key properties of the Van Healy model are the sequential, advancement, and mismatch properties. So basically the sequential property just says that a person must proceed through the levels in order to acquire the different skills. So you have to acquire skills from level 0 in order to move on to level 1. You can't move on to level 2 unless you've acquired all the skills necessary in level 1. Okay, so sequence. So basically you have to sequentially acquire the skills in order to move on to higher levels. Okay, the advancement property discusses how progress or the lack of progress depends on the instruction and content that is given, not the age. So an adult can still be at a level 1 or a level 2 in the Van Healy model depending on the experiences that they've had and the different types of instruction that they've been given in their life. Okay, so the level that you are at in the Van Healy model doesn't depend on age. It depends on the instruction that you've received in your lifetime. Okay, and then the last one, the mismatch property of the Van Healy model, basically says that if a student is at one level and the teacher is instructing at another level, then the desired learning and progress will not occur. So basically, if you're wanting your students to succeed and to move up in the Van Healy model, then you need to make sure that you're meeting them where they're at. Okay, you can't be teaching at a higher level than what they're at and expect them to come to you. You need to go to them. Okay? Alrighty, so the different levels that we are going to be discussing today are level 0 and level 1. Okay, so level 0, visualization. Basically, they can tell you what a shape looks like, a pancake, a box, an ice cream cone. And they can talk about the appearance of the shape, whether it's pointy or smooth, and things like that. Okay, level 1, analysis. The students can describe attributes and compare and contrast the shapes based on those attributes. And they can determine valid shapes based on the attributes. So whether one shape looks larger or is smaller or is turned or is, upside down, they can still tell you what shape it is because they know what attributes shapes have. Alrighty. So, the first activity that we're going to do is talking about. We're going to talk about the different shapes that we see. Alright? And so, before we do that, the teak that we're going to be going over in this activity, or throughout both of these activities, is the Kinder teak. We're going to be talking about Kinder. And the teak is classify and sort a variety of regular and irregular 2- and 3-dimensional figures, regardless of orientation and size. Okay, so regular and irregular. Regular shapes, triangles, circles, squares, rectangles, and irregular shapes are basically shapes that are funny and different looking and don't have an actual shape name. Okay, so now for activity 1, we're going to be talking about the different shapes that we see Okay, so let's go ahead and spread out our different shapes. Okay, so shapes are objects that are enclosed. Okay, so we have some cutouts here, different colors, shapes, sizes, and then we also have two three-dimensional objects right here. Okay, we have a roll of tape and we have a picture frame. Alrighty, so let's talk about these shapes. We have them all out in front of us. So now, what do we notice about them? Okay, so like we said, a student at level 0 will talk about what they look like. Pancake, box, ice cream cone, and whether they're pointy or smooth. So what you can do is, as a class, you can talk about what the students notice about these shapes. Okay, so students at a level 0 will say, oh, this shape, it looks like a soccer ball. Okay, this shape looks like a soccer ball. This shape looks like a box. Alright. What else? This shape looks like my bed. Alright. What else? Maybe this shape looks like an ice cream cone. Alright. So, someone in level 0 might also say, this object I notice is smooth, and this object is pointy. Okay? So you can also have level 1 students be discussing, but they'll just be discussing the attributes that they find. Okay, like this shape has 3 sides, 3 straight sides. Okay, so they're talking about what they notice about the shapes, but they're also giving the attributes, because that's what a student at a level 1 will do. They'll give you the attributes, okay? Not necessarily what they look like or if they're smooth or pointy, but they'll tell you, you know, this shape has 3 sides. This shape has no sides. It's smooth all the way around, okay? This shape has 4 sides, okay? So they're going to be explaining the attributes. But whether it's a level 0 or a level 1, they can both talk about what they notice. They can both talk about what they notice about the shapes. Okay, so that's one activity that can be used in the classroom when discussing the shapes, whether they're irregular or regular. Okay, you can talk about what they look like, whether they're smooth, or whether they're pointy, or whether they have this many sides or that many sides. Okay, so in activity 1, where you're talking about the shapes, both levels 0 and 1 can join in and discuss what they notice about the shapes in front of them. Okay, so now for activity 2, we can go ahead and sort these objects. Okay, so both level 0 and level 1 students will be able to do this activity. Okay, so if every student had these different objects and shapes out in front of them, a level 0 student might say, well, I'm going to create one place for all of my smooth objects. You can see this irregular shape is all smooth, and these regular shapes, the circle and the oval, they are smooth as well. So let's see, we notice that these shapes, both regular and irregular, are pointy. Okay, so we're going to do another section for our pointy objects. Oh, this one isn't pointy, this one is smooth, so it's going into our smooth pile. You're pointy, and you are smooth. Okay, so now we've just sorted our big group of shapes, both regular and irregular, into two different sides. Okay, our left side was sorted based on the fact that they're all pointy. They all have pointy edges on them. Okay, and then we made another group over here based on the fact that all of these objects, both regular and irregular, and 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional, they're all smooth. So that's why we sorted these like that. Okay, so now we've sorted our objects we've classified our objects as smooth or pointy. Okay, now that's what a level 0 would say. But maybe for a level 1 working on this activity, maybe they would determine the different groups based on shapes, regular shapes and their attributes. Okay, so maybe a level 1 student would say, okay, you have 4 sides, so you're going to be a square, so you're going to be in that group. Okay, maybe they would say you have 4 sides as well. You have 3 sides, you have 3 sides, so you're going to be my triangle group. Y'all don't seem to be shapes that have regular attributes to name you as a regular shape. I don't notice anything regular about you, so maybe you two will be in your own group, okay? And you have 4 sides as well, okay? This isn't a square, but I noticed that the attributes of these 3 include them all having 4 straight sides, okay? So maybe we'll put our shapes with 4 straight sides into one group, our shapes with 3 straight sides in another group. And let's move on to these over here, okay? Maybe they would say that this shape is smooth all the way around and it's a complete circle, okay? This one's smooth all the way around and it has one complete circle. This one as well, smooth all the way around, one complete circle. Okay, now these two based on their visible attributes don't seem to have one complete smooth circle, but they are smooth. Okay, so maybe we can leave them in their own group. So now a student at a level 1 has just described the different attributes and determined whether shapes were regular shapes or irregular shapes, and then they've grouped them based on what they've noticed. So these are complete circled objects. Okay, so they're going to be in one group. 3 straight-sided objects. 4 straight-sided objects. And then object with sides, but they're irregular objects, so they're going to go in their own group. And then these 2 have smooth sides, but they're not one complete circle. They have many waves in them, so they're going in their own group. Okay, so now for activity 2, we had a level 0 and a level 1 student both able to do this sorting activity based on where they're at in their different levels. And so whether the level 0 student did this activity or the level 1 student activity did it, neither one is incorrect because, they did what they knew based on their understanding of the objects. And so every student could do this activity on their own, and then we could all regroup as a classroom and discuss our findings. And once we discuss whether we sorted our objects based on smooth sides or pointy sides, or whether we decided to group our shapes based on 4-sided objects or 3-sided objects, or whatever we decided to do them as, then students would be able to learn from each other and see other people's points of view, and then they would be able to grow and understand more about shapes. Alright, so there you go. Thank you.